Hello everyone, today we're going to be going through the video that we didn't, for the two problems that we didn't get a chance to finish in class. We never got to finish figuring out how to find the volume of a cone and then also how to find volume of a pyramid. So that's what I'll be going through with you in this video. Our volume formula for a cone is written over to the right side here. Volume is 1/3 pi r squared h. So if we turn to our first example here, volume is 1/3 pi our radius squared times our height. All right. To do this in the calculator, I like working with the radius and the height first. So I will simplify those, and then I will work with the 1/3 at the very end. So let me clear out what I have here. I'm going to multiply 5 squared, order of operations, right? You got to do exponents first. 5 squared is 25. I'm going to multiply that by 12, multiply that by pi. To get to your pi symbol, you have to hit second and the up arrow. You can also use 3.14 as a decimal approximate. I like hitting enter from here, and then instead of multiplying by 1/3, you can also divide by 3. So you get that our volume here is approximately 314.16. I scroll over for my units, looks like I'm at centimeters, and I am talking about volume, so that means my centimeters are cubed. Area is measured in square units, volume is measured in cubic units. Let's take a look at the next example. Again, I'm going to write out my formula. Volume equals 1/3 pi times our radius. The radius here is 6 squared times our perpendicular height, which is 14. In my calculator, I'm going to do 6 squared first, which is 36. I'm going to multiply that by 14. My perpendicular height, I'm going to multiply that by pi. All right, and then last step, I have to divide that answer by 3, so I get 1/3 of it. So I get that my volume is approximately 527.79. And my units are, other way, centimeters. Centimeters cubed. All right, if you haven't paused me yet to try one of these problems, please do so now. Hit pause, try this last problem. The perpendicular height is 9. I know it's a little hard to see. And then going straight across here. So look, that's going all the way across. It's not a radius, right? Going all the way across is 6 inches. So think about first, what would the radius be? And then try the problem. All right, if we're good to go, we get volume is 1/3 pi. So we talked about it going all the way across the circle is called the diameter. So that means half of that is going to give us our radius. So our radius is 3 inches. So 1/3 pi r squared times height. So in the calculator, let's do it. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 divided by 3. And then we just need to multiply it by pi. I know I went a slightly different order that time. Multiplication is commutative, which means the order doesn't really matter. But we get a final answer. Hopefully you guys agreed with me. Final answer is 84.82. And we're looking at inches cubed. All right, so that's 3 examples now for finding a volume of a cone. In our next set of problems, we're going to look at how to find volume of a pyramid. So you see that formula over to the right here again, and it's pretty similar to the cone. We still have to work with the 1/3, and then from there we just need to find the area of whatever the base is and multiply it by the height of the prism. So notice again, we're talking height being the perpendicular height. It's got to go straight up and down. I bring that up here specifically because look at our first example. Is that 13 going straight up and down? Well, certainly it is not. If it was going straight up and down, it would go somewhere around here. So we need to figure out what that perpendicular height is before we can even start the rest of the problem. So if I draw what's called a cross section, we're just going to look at just that triangle right there. We know that this side is called your H. That's what we want to find. We know that the slanted piece is 13 inches. And then if we're looking at this base here, well, it's not going all the way across. All the way across would be 10. It's actually going halfway across. So that's going to be 5. So if I know two sides of a right triangle, I need to figure out the third. You guys know where I'm going with this? Pythagorean theorem keeps coming back, right? If you don't remember Pythagorean theorem, you can go ahead and scroll up in the document into your formula list, and you will see Pythagorean theorem is written there. It's c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So 13 squared is 169. 5 squared is 25. If I go to subtract that from both sides, I'm end up with 144. And finally, the square root of that is 12. So we get that our height here that we're going to need for our formula is going to be 12 inches long. So now that we have all the information that we need, let's just fill into the formula. So volume is 1/3. L times W is talking about, right, the L and the W, the two dimensions of the base. So our base here is 10 by 10. So that means I'm looking at 10 times 10. And then our height of the pyramid, we just figured that out, is 12. So let's again plug that all into the calculator. I need 10 times 10 times 10 times 12. And then I'm going to divide that by 3. So I get 400. And again, we need units in our answers. So we're looking at inches here. So our volume of this pyramid is 400 inches cubed. All right. In our next example, not quite as much work as the first one because we are given that perpendicular height. We are given that straight up and down height right there, which is really what we need. So we can just start plugging straight into our formula. We need 1/3 the dimensions of the base. So here we happen to have a square-based pyramid, so that's 8 times 8. And then we'll multiply it by the height of the pyramid, which is 9. So again, let's plug this straight into the calculator. 8 times 8 times 9. Get my answer, and then divide that by 3. So I get 192 as my volume this time. And my units here are centimeters, so centimeters cubed. All right, if you haven't paused me yet, please do so now. Take a look at this last problem. See if you can calculate the volume of this pyramid. Again, you're given that perpendicular height and you're given your two dimensions for your base. So go ahead and give it a try. Volume is 1/3 of, in our case here, it's 10 times 8 times 6. So if we turn to our calculators, I'm going to do 10 times 8 times 6, hit enter, and finally divide that answer by 3. Whoopsies. Divide by 3. And I get 160. Hopefully you guys remembered. Okay, if you got 160, remember the units. So it's 160 inches cubed. All right, so 3 examples of a cone, down. 3 examples of a pyramid, down. How did we do? This is the end of all of our formulas. So make sure you have this entire document completed. If you got any questions, you know where to reach me. Thank you so much for watching.